He is international. It is Brian Vander Ark from Verve Pipe. And I'd like to welcome Brian on now. Coming out.
Come on, guys. Clap, everybody. Clap.
Yeah. He's coming through the jungle.
Come on. Into the tree.
Did you exaggerate that?
How you doing, man?
Yeah.
Good, good.
Good.
Wow.
I'm going to give you another hug. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for coming. You are.
Oh,
You
I
are
didn't know they were
busy.
going to show my shoes.
They.
Do you have a tighter shot?
Yeah. And why are we off to the left? Move us a little bit.
Hold on.
That's right.
Yeah,
We'll
look at
adjust it.
Come here.
Wait, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. Wait. Let's just. Here we go.
There we
All
go.
right, so
Now
we're gonna
watch.
Show like this.
Look at this. Da, 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 da.
So that's how the show's rolling today.
Oh, now, Brian, you've been with everyone I have.
Wait, should I? I'm almost off. Oh, wait,
God.
this is good.
Wow.
Okay, are we settled?
I just don't know why we're not moving the
I
camera.
think we are.
I wore my
I
special
know.
socks.
Oh,
Did ya?
That's good. I love those. I love those.
I'm waiting for the house to fall on me.
What are those
You're
socks?
waiting for the house to fall.
Wizard of Oz reference.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
I remember.
There you go.
What are the socks about?
They're about $1.99.
Okay, great, great.
No, my daughter bought them for me.
Really?
Ah.
And those are your snowshoes?
These are my snowshoes.
We talk about
So,
everything you
know
think
what
about.
We're really,
We
you know
got
what
a
we're.
good shot.
You know
This
what?
is the money maker.
That's right.
There you go. The money shot.
So when we talk about your feet, you really know what we're talking about, and that's what everybody really wants to know about. So hand size, just
Well,
like Donald
what he
Trump.
could do is get that face picture again real quick, and then do that emulation you did in the Verve Pipe video when you were being held responsible. That was good. You were very intense.
I don't remember that.
I know.
Particular.
Well, that was
scene
West
that you're
Coast
talking
drugs,
about.
and they work well. No.
So you've had a long career, and I want to just pull up an old picture here of you.
Oh,
that
sure.
I pulled up.
Well, I happen to have an old picture of you as well.
Gosh, you're just so darn cute.
Now,
look how
that's
cute
the
you
one
are.
I'm talking about. That's the one I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
How
So
old were you there?
Oh, geez. I was 30, 32. We didn't get signed till I was 31 or 32.
oh wow,
so,
which
yeah.
is kind
Wow.
of later in.
That's
the
late. In fact, I
industry,
was
isn't
going to quit. I was going to quit when I reached 30. I said, I've had it with the music industry. And if I don't get it by the time I'm 30, I'm going to quit. And then my girlfriend at the time bought me, for my 30th birthday, she bought me a 4-track recorder, which was a really great thing to buy me. It was a perfect thing. And it goes, oh, because she wanted to inspire me. And sure enough, I started recording more and more, and that's where that whole album Villains came about. Yeah, the big famous album.
Wow. And that was it.
That was it. That's
That
all
was
it took.
it.
And then we got signed, and then next thing you know, I'm 51.
Right. And so prior to that, I know you were in the military.
Oh, wow, you've done some research.
Yeah.
So what exactly? Where were you? And were you
I
overseas?
was in Nuremberg, Germany for a couple of years. I worked on the border. I was in military intelligence. I worked on the border of Czechoslovakia
What
before
branch?
the wall came down in the army.
Yeah.
And when I say I worked on the border, I didn't work at the border crossing. We worked out in the middle of a field where there were just border stones every 50 meters or so. And we would watch for any activity that would happen in Czechoslovakia or East Germany. And we would call it in. If there was a buildup of artillery, that might be something you want to call in.
Yeah.
But if people would try to escape and come across the border, we would help them. And once they made it across, we weren't allowed to assist them across. But once they made it across, we'd give them cigarettes and blankets and send them off to the Polizei. And so it was a very interesting
You must have
time.
been pretty young then.
I was young, yeah, I was
before the wall-
19.
I was going to say, before the wall
Yeah,
came down.
19,
The
so
wall
this
came
was-
down my freshman year in college, and
Yeah.
we're not that far apart in age. So.
This would have been 84, 85.
Yeah.
And then
Reagan years.
Reagan wanted it down in '86.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
was,
Yeah,
yeah.
because then it fell in '89. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went right from high school into the Army.
I did.
Were you playing guitar then?
I was. In fact, the guitar was a form of punishment for me when I was in the military. They would take my guitar away if I did something wrong.
Okay.
It was just like being a little kid. But it's true,
And
absolutely.
what's the worst thing that you did that
I
you
was
lost
I
your
had a
guitar?
really smart mouth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I would find ways to cut a drill sergeant down. You know, and when he finally caught up to what I was talking about, then they would take my guitar away.
And plus, you're taller than he is.
Yeah,
you were probably pretty much taller
I was
than
a
everybody.
terrible. I was not a good soldier. It was really difficult to be in the U.S. military now. Of course, it was really easy to be in back then. When I was in '83 to '87, there was nothing going on. We invaded Grenada, which whatever that was. That was a really simple time to be in the military, and God support the troops now for sure. But back then, no, we were a bunch of slackers.
Yeah. So in your military experience, your military years,
Yeah.
you know, here you ended up with a massive music career.
Yeah.
Everybody knew who you are. Like, what do you feel you took from the military that helped you in your music career?
Definitely how to be methodical about things. I also get up early every day. I'm up by 4:35 a.m. I'm very structured in
Now,
the
what
way
do you
that I do
do
things as a songwriter. you
Without
know?
a job, you get up at 4:30 or 5. What do you do? I mean, do you go in the living room?
Without a job. I'm sorry.
I
What
mean,
are we
you're not
talking
going
about
to
here?
punch. You're not going to
Like,
punch
you're
in
not a
anywhere.
9 to 5, but
This is harder.
Oh, I know that.
I have young kids at home too, so
I was gonna say, plus you have kids. Like,
yeah,
"Dad."
quiet time for me to be able to write is from 4:30 to 7:30.
There it
I
is.
have 3
Okay.
hours of quality time to write, and then
Okay.
it's mayhem in our house the rest of the day.
Right,
go.
right.
So-
So you have 3 kids, right?
3 kids. Yep,
3
we
kids.
have 2 girls and a little boy, 10 months.
Yeah. Can I show a
Nice.
picture of your boy? Can I put
Yeah,
that picture of
I think
you?
as long as we don't say his name, I think my wife will be fine
No,
with it.
we will not say names, but I just wanted to show this picture. And I think you put this up on Facebook yesterday.
Oh yeah, this was
But
yesterday.
this is just, here's Brian the daddy, and it is just like the most adorable thing. Look at that.
Well, I finally got him to take a nap. It was a little bit of rum and some Motrin. I find that
Rum and
works
Motrin?
great. On
Yeah.
a Sunday, that's our Sunday
My
afternoon
dad used to
cocktail.
put whiskey in the water in my bottle when I was young. Really?
Did he? Oh, went out.
Went out. My kids, I would just
I
tell
can
them to-
smell it on you, in fact.
Yeah,
it's in my
it's
port.
part of his skin cells now. He just,
But my daughters, I would tell the history of the computer to, and they'd fall right asleep.
Oh, that's great. I might have you come over.
That's so cool, though. So you got 3 kids. You're a family
3
guy
kids,
now.
family
Now,
guy.
the girlfriend who gave you the 4-track, is that the
Yeah.
one you married?
Oh no,
Oh!
she's way too old for me. Are you kidding?
well,
No. In fact,
Any
she
more
was
stories?
she was a great girlfriend. However, she kicked me out of our apartment shortly after the 4-track, and I had to move into the band's storage space, which I know the storage space is out by the highway. We had one for the band.
No way.
And we would record in them. And so I moved in. I didn't want to. I wanted to write and record, so I moved myself into the storage space, locked myself up for 10 days, 14 days or something, and it was disgusting.
Oh,
But I
my
wrote
gosh.
most of that first, the big RCA album. I wrote most of that.
Right in a
the
storage spot.
Right in that
space,
storage space,
with
sure.
no running water, no
no
toilet,
kitchen.
obviously.
No, in fact, we
So you
had
had a
those.
bucket.
We had those no pest strips, and they were so covered in flies that it looked like a chandelier in a Tim Burton movie or something. It was
Aw,
just like this
that's kinda pretty.
disgusting. Yeah, that's kind of
And then when the light would hit them, the amber that could
Oh,
barely come
just-
through,
it
would
was
sort
the
of
worst.
reflect on the walls.
It was the worst.
But that's when I think someone is their most creative, is when they're down.
That's right.
You're
And
down,
hungry,
you have nothing else.
Yep.
You go to the deepest part, and it
Yep.
comes out.
and that's why I haven't been able to follow up.
There you go. I understand.
Because you're so happy now
Yeah, I'm
with
so
your
happy.
life
I mean,
and
look at
with,
Now, I have a storage shed.
Not the same thing, but
and I have to say, I'm impressed that you have matching socks, because in my life
Oh,
with
yeah.
4 kids,
Yeah.
like we actually have a separate basket that's just white socks. And I'm
Yeah.
like, just go find some. If they're both white,
don't be too impressed
That's a
because
win.
I've worn these for the last 6 days in a row. It's not that impressive.
I taught that. Yeah,
so
I know
you got to
that
make the
smell from
kids peel them
somewhere.
off. That's what
Yeah.
kids are for.
Yeah.
My dad worked at a GM, and he'd come home from work in his boots and his socks, and he'd be like, "Oh, take my shoes off." We'd be like, "Dad, no!" We'd have to
Yeah,
take them off.
so-
And
Did you
then,
rub his feet and stuff?
no, I couldn't tell you. We'd peel the socks off like this. We'd be like,
Oh.
"There."
Do you know CPS will take your children away for that now?
For taking off socks.
Yeah, none of the feet stuff anymore.
I also used to get Dad. He'd be in the basement in our rec room, and I was probably 3, and he'd be like, "Oh, Candy, go get me a beer." So I'd go to the fridge, and I'd go down to the rec room, and I'd crack it open for him,
take a sip?
and I'd take a sip, and I'd hand it to him.
Wow, good for how old were you
So
then?
I was probably about 3.
Wow. good
And then
for
at
you.
23, you came out of rehab, which was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to do that with my dad in cigarettes.
Oh, you did?
When
Like
I was
you'd light
3.
it up for
I
him?
would light a cigarette when I was
Yeah.
3.
My mother used to send me to the store for cigarettes and tampons.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm there walking
You
down.
knew the difference, right?
She gave, yeah.
Tampons burn faster.
I had to ask the clerk, and there I am, 11-year-old, walking home, no bag, with just a box of Marlboros and tampons, pink Playtex.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know where to go with
I
that.
don't,
I,
yeah.
you know what though, I will
been
say,
rough.
like in my house, I think the fact that we were so permissive with alcohol, I really didn't drink. Like because I was like I remember being in high school and we'd be cruising or whatever, and cruising in Owasso. You were in Flint at one point, so I don't know if you ever cruised in Owasso.
No.
But that was the place to go. And we'd be cruising around, and some guys would be like, "Hey, you want to go drink?" And I'd be like, I can go drink at home if I want. You know,
Right.
like I don't want to do it with you.
Well, when it's
stupid people.
demystified, that's the way we raise our kids too. Just you know, especially with the human body, you know, and
Yeah.
having girls in the house, and the whole thing is we've always used the more scientific vernacular for anatomy and those kinds of things, and you totally demystify it. When I was a kid, oh my gosh, you forgive me for this, but you couldn't touch yourself when you were gonna, you know, if I was gonna aim. Be like, oh, don't touch it. No, no, no. Yeah, that kind of, don't even, what are you doing?
Wow.
You know, so that kind
So
of
you
thing.
had to
so.
build up some powerful muscles there
Yeah,
so you
that's
could
right.
aim without
That's
touching.
That was
right.
when you were about 17 or so.
Yeah, 17 or
Yeah,
so, yeah.
that makes it harder to write your name in
Well,
the snow.
like my dad said, you know, if you went in the bathroom and you boxed the clown, I'll know because then you'll look circumcised. So I never did.
What?
Yeah,
What?
it's crazy. Crazy.
I've never heard that term, the box the clown.
Box the clown?
What is that?
The hell
Masturbation.
you don't know?
That's what it is?
masturbation.
Boxing the clown.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. And I was in the Army. I thought I'd heard it all, but I've never heard
Now,
of
can
box
you
the clown.
imagine about 2 years from the title of his next album?
Box the Clown.
that damn
Oh,
clown.
I love it.
Don't work it into one of your kids' albums.
All
I
right,
think
all
that's
right.
probably one to be avoided.
So you are now living in Michigan.
I am, yeah.
All right, and but you lived all over for a while.
I did. I've lived pretty much all the big cities, New York and L.A., and you know, I lived in Florida for a little while, and I don't know how Florida got in there, New York, L.A., and Florida. But I lived in Chicago for longer than anywhere other than Michigan. So
All
Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
And-
Chicago boy too myself.
yeah, and you're doing so many. You've branched your career off in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And you're even you're doing motivational speaking.
I do that as well.
I
Yep,
saw,
sure do.
and
Yep.
it looked like, from what I could tell, your speeches have a lot to do with reinventing yourself,
Yep.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Like, what can you kind of give us an idea of what you share in those?
Well, sure. I mean, you know, I speak to a lot of financial institutions, so a lot of the big banks will have me go to their corporate meetings and then their sales conferences and that kind of thing. And I talk about, you know, how we started, how the band started, and it's all very business oriented. And then what happened to the band, you know, we followed up our big album with another album that ended up costing us $1.2 million that didn't sell anything, and what happened to the band after that, and how I came up with the idea of the house concerts 10 years ago, the Lawn Chairs and Living Rooms tour, and how that's pretty much saved my career. And now I've been able to go back and get the band back together and make new albums as well. So, I mean, that's the whole story is a 40-minute presentation, and there's a lot of laughs, and we have a lot of fun, and then I'll play a couple songs for him too. So it's a good presentation. It's been really fun to do it. I was glad I was forced into doing it by a buddy.
Oh, that's
Said,
cool.
you really got to come and talk to these people, and so I did, and it ended up being great. Terrific, yeah.
And your concerts that you're doing in homes, like that, is that a first, really? Like, is that something that any other musician has come up with, or any?
I think
mean,
no, that's been going on for years and
Yeah.
years. I mean, you know, back in if you watch old movies, you'll see everybody sitting or standing around a piano and somebody plays,
Right.
and then they all sing along. That was the idea I first had. I thought I'll go in, I'll play, and everybody will sing along, and we'll have a good time, and it'd be a party atmosphere. And nobody really knew what house concerts were back then. This was 10 years ago. And then the difference is I would do 4 or 5 a day on the weekends because I could go from one to the next. So I got it down to a 2-hour experience where I play for an hour and I hang out for an hour. And then I go drive right to the next one. So over the course of a summer, I would do over 100 shows. So I'm up to, it's well over 600 shows now, house concerts.
Wow.
And a lot of them are the repeats or people that go to them, see it and they go, we have a nice home, we should do this in our home. And then they contact me and I go do it in their home.
And you do it basically per donation. Like essentially they'll do a collection from people who are there.
Yeah, well, actually, no. What happens
not
is
anymore?
there is a fee that
Oh, okay.
we charge, but what we say is that the best way for you to do it is to then ask for donations to repay the fee, so it
Okay.
won't cost the host anything.
Right,
And
okay.
that whole system has worked out really well. I need to get a guarantee to be able to, if I'm going to travel to St. Louis, I have to get a certain amount of money.
I was going to
Right.
say.
But
yeah.
what
Makes
we'll
sense.
also do is we'll contact, if I book one in St. Louis, we'll contact other fans in St. Louis on the mailing list, and we'll say, Brian's coming through town. You know, we can give you a really good discount because his expenses are already paid for, and then everybody's price comes way down for the weekend. So that's how we try to save people as much money as possible while still putting a lot of money in my pocket.
Right, which is awesome because you have a family. And
I have to
you have a
survive.
mortgage and all those
I have
things.
to survive.
And that doesn't
Yeah.
look like some little casa back there. That's got a hefty
Well,
mortgage payment.
that's actually that's the house for our help.
Oh.
Our house is a bigger house. Than
Yeah,
That's a
Wow.
joke. It's a
Wow.
joke. You can't even see the house.
yeah.
That picture
Wow, for your help.
for the help.
Yeah. So what at these concerts? What are they typically? Are they a mix of things? Are they because
Yeah,
you're
well-
doing kids music, you're doing
The house
you know,
the house concerts we're
classical
talking
stuff?
about.
Yeah,
The house
yeah.
concerts, I let the host pick all the songs.
Uh-huh.
So the
Okay.
host can pick, you know, if they have favorite songs from old albums or new albums or whatever, they can pick all the songs. Now, I hope that they pick my songs. 'Cause that's always a bonus. On occasion, I'll get a request for a Creed song, which I've not had to do yet. But for the most part, I'll play pretty much anything they want me to play. Now, here's the problem with that too is that a lot of times the old school fans will pick stuff off the first album in '92,
Yeah.
and I'll have to go to elyrics.com and get my own lyrics off the internet and relearn the song before I go. I just had to do that last
Really?
weekend.
Really?
Last
Really?
weekend,
Really?
last Saturday, I played a show where they wanted to hear a song called Oceanside. I've never played Oceanside. I don't think we ever played it as a band. And I had to sit and learn the song and study the lyrics, and I ended up botching it anyway. So,
But they didn't care.
they didn't
Thank
care.
you.
They don't care. It's a really fun experience.
So obviously it's a way for you to, you know, you're having fun,
Yeah.
you're getting money in your pocket, which is great. What's happened in these experiences that you didn't get when you were touring with Kiss or,
Yeah.
you know, or out touring on your own and you were much more detached from the fans? This is a much
Right.
closer experience. So
Well,
what are
there's
you getting out
that
of that?
wall there's always a wall between the artist and the fan that no one can get through, and I don't believe in it anymore. I don't see the point. I've gone, you know, when we go back and forth via email with people, so I usually don't know the person when I go to the door, and I'm by myself typically. So when I ring the doorbell, I have no idea what's going to happen on the other side. And my manager was always very fearful that, somebody would say there's going to be 50 people there, and it's one lonely woman in a wedding dress or
And it's
something.
misery.
Yeah, it's misery.
She's breaking your feet.
But that has never happened. Out of 600 shows, they're always a very unique experience. And I think part of the thrill of the whole thing is not knowing what's behind
Right.
that door and getting in there. And I'm so amped up for those 2 hours because of that excitement
Yeah.
that it's a very high energy, fun experience. And plus I'll drive myself typically too, and I'll drive long hours to get there that I can't wait to talk to anybody.
So the
Yeah.
anticipation
I
of
just
really
gotta talk to people.
is much
Yes.
more powerful than the actual event sometimes.
I think so. I think so.
So are you still with Verb Pipe?
Yeah, of
they're
course.
Okay.
Sure.
doing
I have
new
to ask the
stuff.
question,
They're
yeah.
doing new
Sure.
stuff now.
Yeah.
You guys have just
You didn't
started.
do any research at all.
No, usually what I,
Despite the links I sent him.
Oh, this is-
Read this.
because
What kind
I'm
of-
going in. Well, I'm asking as the viewer with it.
I know.
I'm asking as the viewer because
Thank
they
you.
didn't research it before
Thank
the
you.
show.
No, Verb Pipe has been together now for 23 years.
Where do they all live? They're scattered?
Most of the guys live in Grand Rapids now.
Okay.
Yeah, we have one guy that lives out near Lansing, but for the most part,
All
everybody's
right.
here in
So
GR.
you can rehearse and
Oh
do
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. And then we make new music. We have a new kids album coming out next year. That's going to be it's going to go along with a graphic novel. It's going to be a conceptual album for kids, much like The Wall would be, but for kids. That kind of thing. And then we have a rock album that's coming out this July of all the singles that we put out over the last year. We put out a single a month for the last year.
Wow.
Where'd you get the name?
Verve Pipe, our old guitarist, came up with the name over a drunken night, 4 in the morning, and we couldn't think of anything else. And for some reason, it meant something to him, and he just said, "We're going to name it this." And then he left, and then we said, "All right, well, whatever," and we named it that terrible name, Verve Pipe. Awful. He had to say it so many times. Still, people think it's Verve Pipe. And then the Verve was out. The band The Verve was out, and that was a problem too. And then that guitarist left the band after 3 or 4 months, and left us for 23 years with a terrible name.
But it works for you, and it's
It does work.
distinctive.
Yeah.
I put up a picture here that you shared recently
Oh,
of a bunch
this
of you
group, these
stuffed
guys are
in a van.
Ridiculous.
It's you stuffed in a van
Yeah.
going to a recent gig.
Yeah, that's
And-
Channing there, of Channing and Quinn. They're in Grand Rapids now, a terrific duo. She took that terrible picture. It's blurry and everybody's super white. I mean, really, the technology that we have, there's no excuse for that awful, awful picture. We all look, actually we look happy. I wish there could be that's the before picture, before the tour. And then 10 days later, I think we took another picture that was
And you guys are just
completely
like,
different.
so tired.
No, that's just before the car rolled.
That's right. That is
Okay.
during the roll.
Okay,
That's how
look
much
at 'em.
fun it is with us.
That's why it's blurry.
We're always having so much fun.
Happy little
Yeah,
campers, aren't
we're
they?
all gonna die.
That's all right.
So how is it to be on the road again? I mean, you've
Good.
been sticking close to home, having your
Good.
kids,
Yeah.
having your house. You know.
The tough thing now is the budget is really difficult when you don't have tour support from a label. A label will typically give you tour support when you're signed to a label, but my thinking is that because a label takes about 90% of the album sales, that we weren't going to go with any kind of label anymore. We're just going to do our own thing and take all the profit. So all the guys get paid, and everybody gets paid the same. The issue is whether I make any money at the end of the year or not. I have not made any money yet off the Verve Pipe. I make all my money off the house concerts. Verve Pipe is a losing venture. So when we go out on
Wow.
tour, we have to get in the van, in the Sprinter van. We rent a Sprinter van, and we take that out. It's very comfortable. Doesn't look so comfortable in that. But we cram into that van, and we go across the country and we play. And it was so fun. It was like the old school days. And everybody, this whole group of guys gets along now. We got some new guys in the band too, not the same old guys, but, and that's the thing. Everybody's got a great attitude, and we're all musical, and we all have a good time. So.
And there is something about that kinship of just being with anybody, I think, that has your same passion.
Sure.
So just to be with a bunch of musicians,
Yeah.
and you guys all have the same humor,
Yeah.
and you have, just that.
And all of these guys, as you can see, I mean, we're all around the same age, except Channing, she's young. And then Sam there with the sunglasses is pretty young. He's in his 20s. He's our drummer. So he's very, very enthusiastic about being on the road because he
Right.
really hasn't done, he hasn't
Sure.
been where we've been. And that's nice. It's infectious. Infectious? Infectious. What's the word?
Infectious.
Infectious. Thank you.
Infectious.
Infectious. Is that what I just said?
Now it's a new
Ah.
word, and it's a hashtag.
It's infectious.
Infectious.
Hey,
I
what
was
do you want
thinking
to
of
play?
incestuous.
Yeah, I would love to
but
hear
it's
something.
Yeah, what do you wanna play for us
Something that
today?
you're doing
Oh,
on the
sure.
road right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Well, I mean, most of the songs I write are depressing breakup songs. I hope that that's all right. I don't really have anything
Well,
other
I
than
broke up with my husband 6 years ago.
All right,
so
this
we'll-
is for you then. I'll
Yeah,
play this for you.
okay, thanks. We'll bring the mic in too.
Let's try this. This is one of the new ones. I know everybody loves to hear new songs from a band that's been around forever. This is a brand new one. This is called If I Could Make You Feel. If I could make you feel, if I could make you feel, it wouldn't matter what you feel as long as you feel it. If it's pain, we'll find a way to heal it. And if it's love, I'll find a way to steal it once again. If you would make believe, sometimes I make believe. I make believe that you never meant a word that you said. But you invite me back into your bed to fall asleep, my head to your head, and share a dream. If I can make you feel. If I could ever make you feel, you'd feel the pleasure and the pain in equal share. If I can make you share, you'd share your life with me. And then I wanna make you weak. I wanna make you cry. And when you cry for me, I'm ready with my arms wide open. And I am everything that you were hoping. Look at me, I'm just a book wide open. Mark the page. The day I made you feel. If I could ever make you feel, you'd feel the pleasure and the pain in equal share. If I could make you share, you'd share your life with me, and no one else is there. And then it's you and me, and there's a million angel voices, can't you hear? And then it's you and me, and out of all your many choices, you choose me. You choose me. If I can make you feel. If I can make you feel.
Nice,
There you go.
man.
Thanks.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's real new. That's not out yet.
Yeah, that is actually out just for streaming, and then the album will be out in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
they can
awesome.
they can hear that on the
I can
Facebook page.
listen and listen.
Oh, that's nice. I'll play it again.
Such a great
If
voice.
I can.
So you're born with overwhelming feelings as a musician.
I think so. I think
think
as a lyricist, you
Yeah.
are. I think most times. I mean, I write about things that are important to me, and lyrics. I grew up with the Harry Chapins of the world, and the James Taylors, and the guys who wrote lyrics that really meant something, I think. And so lyrics are very important to me. And yeah, it's a nice way. It's very cathartic to write, to get things out. It's therapy for me, and it's worked over all the years.
Yeah, that's why we do this. It's therapy for us.
Yeah,
It totally is. That's the way we are.
I get it.
Are you up to playing Freshman?
No.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
I've never not played the freshman. I mean, I would always play it.
Okay.
If you wanted to hear the
Right.
freshman.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit.
Oh,
more.
that's-
Can we
that's
just
fine.
Oh, do you want?
talk a little
Okay.
bit more?
Okay, we
Okay.
can talk first.
It's-
Sure.
Yeah, I just I want to keep talking about some things. Some of your concerts, I want to make sure we.
He's
talk
just
about.
like every other fan. He's like, just play the hit. Just get to the hit
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Sitting through these
Well,
new songs.
the only
like
thing
an
I've ever
idiot.
seen is you doing that, and I liked it. I liked it before I knew you. That's a
okay.
compliment
Before
I
today.
take it. No, I
in a
take it.
twisted way.
I take it.
Okay.
I'll take a compliment.
I
You're
remember
right, yeah.
sitting on the lakefront in the basement watching it probably 20 times over and over, and it related to something in my life. Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's important to me as a songwriter that songs resonate with people. And some songwriters don't care. They don't care if people like it or
Yeah.
not, or if what people take from it. But it's always been important to me what people think of it. And if I can affect people's lives in some way. That's why I do what I do. I was born to do this.
You did it for me, and I can remember it lasted about a year. So you
Yeah.
were an integral part, your music, and that song was in my head
Yeah.
every morning, and it resonated to what I was going to do that day.
See, that's in the music world, it's very uncool. It's very uncool to care that you're affecting people in some way. It's,
Really?
oh, absolutely. You're supposed to be aloof.
Did Charlie Manson start that or what?
Probably, yeah. Honestly, you're supposed to be aloof, though, and you're supposed to not care. And you're supposed to
Really?
only care about what comes from you and how it affects you. But I've always cared about people, and
Yeah.
which is why house concerts work for me, because I can get story ideas. I enjoy people. I enjoy conversation with people. I get story ideas for songs from people. I can't imagine that kind of disconnect where you're just focusing on yourself constantly and what pleases me. I know what pleases my ear, and I have an idea of which way to go with a song to please people as well. And I usually choose that avenue, whether it be cool or not. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, that's being cool, is that you don't care whether you're cool or not.
Right,
That's always been
right,
my
because
thing.
you're comfortable in your own skin.
That's exactly right.
Which
I
is
try to
what we're
teach
all
my
about.
kids that. Try to teach the kids that as well.
It's hard to teach that to kids.
Really hard to
because
teach 'em.
What's your oldest now?
She's 10.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
remember we had one that was really close.
She's going into middle school, yeah.
Okay.
Next year.
And
So
at
having
one point,
her-
your wife was thinking of homeschooling, because I remember we talked
Well,
about
we were
that.
very concerned. We were just very concerned about other kids.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and other parents. But I think that, especially in Grand Rapids and East Grand Rapids, has come a long way in East Grand Rapids, especially, where it was very conservative before. It's become much more liberal now. Now, although they need to work on the whole arts thing and music thing, and although I am a huge football fan, I get frustrated to see that we have an amazing AstroTurf stadium, and then they
Yes.
cut the librarians from the system.
Right.
This kind of thing bothers me, but you know, these are things that I bring up at the town meetings. You know, but
And
it
you're
has.
like, and I wrote a song about it.
I wrote a
So
song
here
about
you
it.
go.
Yeah, here you
I wrote
go.
a song about how much
Here
this
you
sucks
go.
that you're cutting this.
But then again, I like to go to the football games, and I like a nice stadium, so it's
Right.
a tough. I
With
think
a
I'm in a
library
position
book,
with
yeah.
everybody else. Yeah, with a library book. Yeah. But the fact is like we found that East Grand Rapids has come a long way, and to being a little more liberal about things, and and for our kids to be themselves and focus on being who they are and embracing who they are is it has turned us into fans of the school system in East Grand Rapids.
Good.
And we decided to keep our kids in school, in public school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good. And I have in my life, my ex is gay, and he came out after we had 4 kids, and so being genetic and all. I have one daughter who's already out lesbian, and that was a big concern of ours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not only having a gay dad, but also coming out as lesbian in middle school, high school.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere has changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in Lowell, so we're in small town, play you in football,
Mm-hmm.
usually beat you in football.
Yeah,
I
I'm
need
sure.
to say, pound you.
Is that why you brought that whole thing up?
This is exactly why she brought it up,
She
by the
said
way.
she was
No,
gonna
but
get
I was
that.
thinking about this. But I am saying, like, it's, you worry about your kids and worry about what the others are going to come at. And, and we live in a very conservative area. But I have been very pleasantly surprised at how open everybody is. I mean, my kids in middle school, high school have kids who are out as bi, and
Yeah.
2 girls that are dating, and this
Yeah.
person's transitioning, and this person's cisgender. And, so it has been really nice to know that even though there are some still kids that are like, oh, so your dad's going to hell. Occasionally they get
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
In general, it is a really welcoming atmosphere, which is a surprise for where we live.
Yeah, some would call it, you called it welcoming, some call it tolerant. I like the welcoming much better.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
saying that and a lot of people say the community is very tolerant, and it's like, that to me sounds negative.
Right.
But you're right, it's much more welcoming than it used to be.
As long as you're nice, I don't care what you look
That's
like,
right.
where you came from,
long as you're a good
or what you
person.
smell like.
Okay,
Be a
Tony,
good person.
leave it there.
Yeah, we're gonna leave
We're
it
gonna do
there.
some more. Thank
Yeah, we're gonna do some more. That's Tony.
you. Yeah. Sorry,
Tony, was Tony in the shot there, or no? Tony wasn't in the shot. That's too
Nah,
bad.
he gets in there though.
So you also, another area you've branched out is kids' songs. So
Yeah.
I have a picture from a concert that I went to with my
Oh.
kids, and you're out there like playing.
Who's the guy with the blonde wig?
Is that you
You're-
back then?
Oh,
yeah,
I
that
had
is.
a.
How-
So
how long
this
ago
was
was
a
that?
few years
Well, that
ago.
was only a few years ago. I went blonde again for fun, and it turned out to be not that fun.
But what I love about this is that you have the guitar and you're just like playing
Yeah.
it, you're playing it up to the kids and really giving them.
No, he lost
Well-
his pick in the
One
hole, and
time.
he's
we
trying to
have
shake it out.
we have a song called Cereal, and I fill up my
Yes.
guitar with
Oh, that's
2 family-sized boxes of Fruity Pebbles, and I pour it all over myself.
That
and
is
it's
cool.
what's really disgusting. It wasn't so disgusting here, but when we play, a lot of times we'll play at clubs, on a Saturday afternoon, and parents will bring their kids into the club. That's the only place to see a concert. And then I'll pour the cereal out all over myself, and the kids will eat it off the disgusting stage.
Of course they will. It's pretty
so
cool.
ridiculous. We've our kids show has become, this is nothing now. It's become a spectacle. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
In fact, the show we have coming up in Wyoming next week's gonna be, Elvis is gonna make an appearance. You know, we have a Mexican wrestler. We have a Godzilla. You know, it's so much fun, and kids love it.
That's great.
Yeah, we have a great time. It's really an opportunity to be theatrical.
Right.
Ironically, you know, you can't really be theatrical in the kind of band that we're in a rock band, because people have seen it all. But kids, they haven't seen the theatrics yet.
Yeah.
And you know, explosions. We don't have explosions, but someday.
no clowns.
Someday we'll have explosions and clowns.
Not boxing clowns.
No, not.
You know what?
The Boxing Clowns tour.
He's going to be thinking about that now. Oh, God. All right.
It was inevitable. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
So
I want to make it clear that I wasn't making a connection between the
No,
kids
I
shows
know. I
and
did
boxing
that. That was all
clowns.
me.
Thank you.
That was all Candace?
Totally
Candace
ruined.
injected that.
You've ruined my
did.
career.
Okay.
You need to go south and take care of
I'm
business
going
with
to
that
stop doing
baseball
my play
player.
on words right now because I have a bunch of words shooting.
You got
through
two
my
guys
head.
with fear gnomes coming your way, and you're all confused.
That's right. I'm just all your manliness. from both of
There you
you.
go.
It's just like a wave
There you go.
over me. But you are still coming out with new music for the kids.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like I said, the conceptual album will be out next year, and we're writing and recording for that right now. This has been it's been about a 3-year process so far. But I want it to be right. As a writer, I want it to be great. And so, you know, I keep changing things, and the other guys are writing, they're changing things, and it's going to be I think it's going to be a fantastic kids album.
And you write everything? Have you written everything?
No,
that
in
you
fact,
write?
the
No?
last this last album that's coming out in July, the singles, we've had better responses from Randy Sly, who's our keyboard player, wrote a great song called "A Fine Line," which is coming out here in a few weeks, that people absolutely flip over. They love it. You know, Channing wrote a song that's coming out in a couple weeks as well. So everybody writes.
So it's all within you guys, though? Like you do your
Oh
own
yeah, yeah.
stuff? Okay,
Everybody, yeah, we
cool.
all write our own stuff.
Yeah.
We write our own stuff, then we get together as a band and we play through it and we make some changes and what people are comfortable with, and if somebody might come up with a better line or a better riff, and that kind of thing. And it really is a band effort this time out. The
Yeah.
old band, it was more me writing in my own place and the other writer in their own place, and then we would go into the studio and try to bash out the stuff. But this is much more collaborative, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'd love to
Yeah.
hear one of your kids' songs. You can do
Oh, yeah.
Serial, you can do whatever you want. Just
Oh, yeah.
whatever you want to do, your choice.
Cereal, oh, that might be really hard to do. I'm happy to do it. I can't
Dealer's
pour any.
choice.
It's really high, but I'll try it. I love my cereal, morning, noon, and night. I love my cereal, satisfies my appetite. It could be sugar-coated corn puffs baked in a flake. One little handful is all it takes to make me feel good. It could be wet in a bowl or dry on a plate. It's good for my body, for goodness sakes, and it always treats me like it should. And I love my cereal. Oh, my cereal satisfies my appetite. And I love my cereal. Oh, my cereal, morning, noon, and night. Snap to the crackle, to the pop, don't stop. There's a prize in the bottom, you can save the box top. It's good. It could be sealed in a bag or a box or a bowl. Cocoa, fruity, frosted, served hot or cold, and it always treats me like it should. And you know what? Sugar makes me feel so good. Cereal, I love my cereal. I love it in the morning, I love it in the afternoon and in the evening. I could eat it for a midnight snack. Bring me a spoon, a silver spoon, a plastic spoon, a wooden spoon, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I even lay my face right in the bowl. Because I love cereal, and I love it morning, noon, and I need to sit down. I am sitting now.
Wow.
That's a lot of air.
It's a lot of air. Woo! Anyway.
Well, cool. I know my kids, I took them to see you. You were in East Grand Rapids at a park there. And I have to pull up this picture I have because it's you.
Oh,
and
you
my,
didn't run any of these pictures by me
no,
or my
of course
management.
I didn't.
By
You know
the
why?
way.
Because some of them are mine. So this is
Oh.
me and my youngest.
So cute.
And she was just crushing on you so hard.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
She was like, I remember
I
how
see
like,
she got a little verve pipe tattoo as well. That's nice.
yeah, that's permanent now. We just, we just.
Is
took
it
her to-
really?
yeah, we
Nice.
just took her to the tattoo shop. And,
You tatted your daughter?
yeah, so yeah, all my kids.
Yeah.
Mostly I do their serial numbers. So I
Because you had to get the tattoo to be on the show.
That's right, that's right. But she had such a great time and they just loved it.
We love kids, and we have a terrific time with the kids, and we'll get them up on stage. And I mean, the thing about the kid show is you have to be energetic for the entire time. You can't let your guard down at all, because kids, if they don't like what they're hearing, they'll cry or they'll jam their fingers in their ear and say they want to go home, and then the parents get mad at you. So the rock shows, you know, they call them shoegazers, the guys that are all brooding and they look at their feet and they play, you know. You can't do that in kids' music. So we make sure everybody has a great time. We have a lot of fun.
And you
Have
dump
some cereal before so
and
you're
you dump
hyped.
That's
cereal
right.
all
That's
over the
exactly
place.
right. That's exactly right.
Okay, so I have, and again, these are my personal pictures from when we went, so you probably haven't seen these. But this one is your daughter on stage.
Oh,
with you,
wow.
right?
She's up there singing too.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So what about
Yeah.
your kids in music? Because your wife is also a musician.
Yeah, Lux, she's a fantastic musician. She's in the alt country world, a little bit different than what I do. Yeah, so our kids are extraordinarily talented. The eldest daughter, she is really, really talented, and she plays. She just played at East Grand Rapids Relay for Life, and she played a song that she wrote, and she sang a couple other songs. And she's with a band called Tuxedo. And this is, you know, these are fifth graders who formed a rock and roll band and can play really well. And their signature song is Hey Jude. They play Hey Jude, and it's awesome.
So it's genetics. It's got to be.
Yeah,
Could
It's
be.
gotta be.
Could be,
Yeah.
but the other kids in the band are equally as talented. They really are talented kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for a kid to be able to play the drums and play the guitar and play the keyboard and be able to play it correctly and keep rhythm and sing backup is amazing.
Yeah.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's cool. There's actually my daughter who sings and plays guitar. There's a camp called like Kids Rock or Girls Rock.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of getting her into that. So that
You
might
should.
be something your kids can get involved in too and just go have a good time.
One thing we try to do is we try to inspire kids to pick up instruments, because kids aren't picking up instruments as much as they used to. Especially when Guitar Hero was a big deal. More kids were playing Guitar Hero than they were picking up instruments. And you can't take that guitar from Guitar Hero and play a song with it, other than when you're playing a video game. So, you know, if we can inspire kids to pick up instruments again, awesome.
But I'm about the same age as you, and you picked up a guitar. I was forced to pick up a clarinet.
That's awful.
That's awful, and playing a stupid marching band.
That is, no.
And then I quit because they
Here-
wanted to make me the guy with the thing in the front.
Yeah,
Oh.
oh no.
No,
Drum
the
major?
majorette? Yeah, no.
No, not
no,
major.
no.
That's a drum major.
No.
That's a leadership position.
I know, and they had fluffy things
That's
to put on
somebody who
me, and I
can't.
just would not do
That's
it.
somebody who can't play music. No, that's not true.
Okay,
that's
I gotta
a terrible
say,
thing to say.
I dated the
Is it-
drum major in high school. So.
That was a terrible
Go
thing to
for
say.
the feminine guys. I refused. I got in trouble.
Let me make one thing clear. The clarinet, the oboe,
Yeah.
these other woodwind instruments are terrific instruments. Now, in rock and roll, you'd be hard-pressed to find a clarinet in a rock and roll band or an oboe player in a
Yeah.
rock and roll band. You can't do that as a musician. I can't do that because it would seem really pretentious if we had a clarinet solo in one of our songs. But that's what's great about the kids' music, is that we do have a clarinet in
Yeah.
the song, and we do have an oboe, and we do have a tuba, and all of these other instruments that a kid can now say, oh my gosh, they have a clarinet in this song, you know, and the kid that plays clarinet in the band can go, wow, my instrument's in a rock and roll band. It's really
Okay.
super fun.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way it should be.
So you're okay, you guys are okay if your kid's going to music. Like for you, that's like,
Oh, I would
if
encourage
that's
it.
your passion.
I have
yeah.
a great, as long as, you know, I have a really good perspective on the whole thing. I know that it's, when you're a young child and you play, no matter what happens, you're going to get applause. And people are going to love you. And they're going to say, oh, you were so great. And there's going to come a time when that's not going to happen anymore, when they're not your family in the audience, and you have to have a thick skin. So I'm trying to walk that line with my own kids on letting them know, listen, someday you're going to get out there and they're not going to be your fans and you're going to have to win them over. That's why we have to rehearse and we have to make it great.
Right. And it's just a tough business too.
Very
I mean,
tough
aside
business.
from
It's a terrible
just the
business.
fans,
It's a terrible
Yeah.
business.
I mean, you're dealing with a lot of contracts, and
Sure.
everybody, obviously, you
Yeah.
want to get paid. The
Yeah.
people, the venues want to make as much money as they can.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it can be really, really rough, you know?
It's a terrible business, even where I am now, which is why we control, the Vertpipe controls our own business. We don't have a record label, and we don't.
What is the worst part of the business out in LA? What do they do? I mean, to
Well,
me,
LA
it's so
is
slimy.
LA is not even they're not, we don't even consider anything from LA. LA's been pay to play for years. You know, you have to pay money to play a stage there. And the band that pays the most money or sells the most tickets up front will play. Now, what's happening now in the music world is that even if you go out with a band, let's say a big band like Kiss, we went out with Kiss, and they paid us to go out with them. Now bands have to pay to go out with to open up for
Really?
another band. Sure, they don't get paid, you have to pay. So the label will pay the major acts to let their act go on before, because it's advertising.
Oh.
So there's very little opportunity for bands and musicians to make any kind of living live. And now with streaming being so popular, it's very difficult to make money off it as well.
And on that note, that reminds me of something you put on Facebook.
Do you like how I led the interview
Yes,
there?
thank
see, I
you.
kind of like
Thank you, 'cause
this is what a professional does.
This is something
Yeah.
that I
What
think
is
is
that?
really important to cover, and that is the financial aspect of
Yeah.
it. I remember you put a picture up on Facebook of a check that you got from
Yeah.
a streaming service.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 months worth of 4.5 million downloads
Yeah.
of your song.
Of streaming, yeah.
Yep, of streaming. And you got $200 for it.
$200 for 4.5 million streams.
Right.
That's 4.5 million times that my song was streamed, the freshman was streamed. And I got a check for a little over 200, like $201.
Where does the rest of the money go?
It does. There's no money. It's like this. It's almost like Bitcoin, I guess, if I understand.
Oh,
Bitcoin.
okay.
It's like this ridiculous thing. There's no money in streaming. There's absolutely no money in streaming. I mean, if it's as I've watched my royalties over the years for the freshmen go lower and lower and lower. I'm sorry, I was so distracted by that. I've watched him go low. He showed
I
a little
was
bit.
just
He showed a
lowering
little
his
bit of leg, and I got totally distracted. I've watched him go lower and lower and lower, and I try to figure out what's going on. When I finally got my Apple Music statement and the Spotify statement, I saw how much people are streaming now. People are streaming like crazy. Now, when Apple Music came out, I subscribed to Apple Music. I was like, oh, this is amazing, awesome. I got that first check, and I got the first look at my statement. I'm like, this is what they're paying? This is ludicrous. And a friend, Dave Lowry from Cracker, I did a movie with him years ago. Remember Cracker? Great band, Cracker.
I remember.
remember.
Yeah. He's got a huge lawsuit out now, and there are a lot of musicians that are with him to get these monies back for streaming, because their Apple Music is not paying. So of course I canceled my subscription, and I have to get my friends and family to cancel their subscriptions to Spotify, which is nearly impossible, because people now, when it becomes the norm that music is free, people don't want to go back and buy music. And
Right.
it's going to be really difficult to make any money at all now.
Right,
But
right.
we're trudging forward and doing what we can.
Yeah, because what does that do for the future of music? You know,
It's-
if people can't even
Something's
like,
going to
sell it
have
out.
to break open. Something's going to have to break
Yeah.
open, and it'll happen. We're not sure how it'll happen, but something will come through.
Yeah, because
You know,
there's a
house
lot
concerts ended up coming through for a lot of people.
Which is
they all
great,
come.
yeah.
So many house concerts happen now, which is a tremendous source of income.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as selling your music, it's really hard to sell a CD. Very, very. I've
Yeah.
got 4,000 CDs in my basement right now. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to sell CDs because people stream or they don't want the
I
clutter.
would not buy a CD today. Why?
Well, you will.
Why?
You will by the time I leave here.
Oh,
He's gonna be filtering them out. Because I think in general with marketing and business, things went macro for so long.
Yeah.
Things went big. We're gonna sell this to a whole bunch of people. We're gonna sell this to a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then with the internet, things have started to tailor down more,
Sure.
where people are filtering things for specific audiences
Yep.
because that's what they're demanding too.
Yep.
So I wonder if the future of music is almost to have different versions too, where it's like, well, this version is really for this and this version is really for this audience, because it's becoming so demanding on that individual want.
You mentioned the filter, and you're absolutely right. And a lot of times I'll tell people, look, it's not really the record label's fault. It's not really Apple Music's fault. It comes down to the listener. The listener, with the state of what radio is in right now, it's the listener's fault, because these people respond to what they're being spoon-fed. And that's always been the problem, because then record companies will tailor everything toward what's working by focus groups and that kind of thing. And that's the reason that's what killed the album in the first place, is the fact that, but also musicians are at fault too, because what also killed albums was that people would put an album out and there'd be 90% of it would be crappy and there'd be one or two good songs. So people didn't want to buy the whole album. They wanted a single, and Apple saw that opportunity and said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sell 99-cent songs. We're going to give the artist 69 cents of the 99 cents, which is okay. That's actually very good compared to streaming, of course.
Right.
It's huge compared to streaming. And so they really did it to tailor to the tastes of people. And it's the musician's fault as well, for making bad music over the years.
Kind of makes me think of tabloids, when they're always like, why are they taking these celebrity pictures and all that? It's like, well, those
people are buying
long
it.
lens pictures
That's
are the
right.
ones that people are, they sell more magazines.
Absolutely.
So have you ever had a tabloid thingy happen to you?
No, I've had relationships with actresses, but I always chose the ones that were the C and D list actresses,
Yeah.
not the A list,
Yeah,
not intentionally.
right.
No one was interested in the actresses that I was hanging out with.
Those didn't work out for you.
In fact,
though.
I always had to be a little bit more famous than the people that I was dating.
Yeah.
if there's a legacy that people want to remember you by, what would that be?
Oh, wow, that's a
Yeah, I
hard
know,
hitting-
that's a
that's a
first.
hard-hitting question.
Yeah.
If people could think back on my time here and say, you know what, he did the work, he wrote songs, he stayed true to himself, and he cared about how it affected people, that would be a nice legacy to have. That would be to show that you can also play an acoustic guitar and play pretty much any song if it's a good song. You don't need production, huge production value, that kind of thing, but play a simple song and have it resonate with people in some way. And I was able to do that and do the work and have a lifetime in music. That's a pretty good legacy.
Yeah.
I would take that.
Awesome. Well, you have to go. I could keep talking to
Oh,
you
what time
on
is
and
it?
on and on.
It's almost
It's
noon.
time
Can you
for
do?
you to hit
You
it.
can't do.
Is this
I-
like a
you can't do
24-hour show?
freshman.
Do you guys
It's
have any
2
time?
hours.
Oh, it's 2 hours.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. So
about
How long is the song Freshman?
I don't
I'll
know,
play the
but it's
freshman.
up to
All
him.
right.
It's up to him.
I'll play the
He's the
freshman,
one with
yeah.
the schedule.
That's
so.
okay. When I was young, I knew everything. And she, a punk who rarely ever took advice. Now I'm guilt-stricken, sobbing with my head on the floor. Stop a baby's breath and a shoe full of rice. No, we can't be held responsible, 'cause she was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. My best friend took a week's vacation to forget her. His girl took a week's worth of Valium and slept, and now he's guilt-stricken, sobbing with his head on the floor. Thinks about her now and how he never really wept, he said. We can't be held responsible, 'cause she was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. We tried to wash our hands of all of this, and we never talk of our lack in relationships, how we're guilt-stricken, sobbing with our heads on the floor. We fell through the ice when we tried not to slip. We'd say, hey, we can't be held responsible, 'cause she was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we'd never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. We were merely freshmen. We were only freshmen.
God, I love that song. I love that song.
Thank you.
Man.
Amazing.
Thank you.
That was great.
Wow.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for
Thank
for
you
having me.
being
I'd love to
here.
have you back. I think
I'd
we
love
could
to come
keep
back.
talking
Thank
and
you.
talking.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, do I just get up and walk out now?
Yep.
I thought there'd be some go to commercial or
We
there'd be.
don't do that.
Do
We
you have
just
any
keep-
exit music? Can
we
you
just
play any
keep
exit
rolling
music
with
on
it.
that? What do you have
I
that's
can't.
royalty free? No, nothing.
No.
All right.
I'm
Well,
just gonna watch you walk out.
just stream one of my songs
I'm just
from
gonna
my
watch
exit
you walk
music.
out slowly.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
And
Which
I'm
one?
gonna
Oh,
grab-
that's nice.
I'm
They
gonna
get a
grab
nice
one more
crotch shot
hug,
there.
'cause
Okay, that's.
I crushed on you like my daughter did. So there you go.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
Hey,
you.
good to
care,
talk to
pal.
you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Do I go? Oh, I'll go.
Yeah.
You can go however you want. You don't have to go back.
Then
Great
I'm gonna
guy.
go. I'm gonna go
Great
right in
guy.
front of the camera then.
That was
There he
so-
goes.
Woohoo! Watch him walk away.
See you guys.
All right, stay in touch.
Thank you. So we did. I never did play this, but we had
Yeah, that was
one of
a
the-
that
the
was a great
Overboard video and,
great
yeah.
interview. Good guy.
Yeah, he really
Yeah.
is very down to earth and
Yeah, full of feelings too, and I like that because it just comes part and parcel with people who write music.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I still assimilate to that song. Boy, it just brought me right back to that
Realized
place
here.
about a decade ago.
So what was that place? Like, you
It was not a good place. It was not a good place.
Yeah.
I was still married, and I just needed to get out.
Okay.
And yeah, I was at wit's end. I didn't know what to do.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And they talked about, she took a week's worth of pills
Right.
and slept.
Yeah.
And that sounded comfortable at the time.
So the time.
Yeah,
right.
but I never,
Kinda
but
resonates with
it just had each line had a nice resonance to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I could resonate with the guy. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's great to have him here.
Yeah. That was cool.
Only on No Limits you're going to see people coming in who are huge and
No.
getting huger.
Yep, NoLimitsRadioTV.com. And,
That's right.
You know, what we try to do with the interviews also is, I mean, Brian's done a lot of different media in different places.
Right.
And when people come here, we want to get into the things that other people haven't heard about, you know?
Right.
People haven't heard about his time in the Army, and people haven't heard about, you know, some of the stories that he shared, and even the fact that, you know, he'll dump the cereal and kids will be eating it off the stage floor, you know?
Right.
And
Most
that's what we
interviews
wanna do.
won't go that way, and we surprise him with some of the questions. He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Because we want to know.
Yeah.
And at a personal level.
Yep.
And he's okay with it.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
okay with
He
it.
was good. So that was great, and we're looking forward to having him back next time.
Yeah, yeah. And I had asked a dumb question, "Are you still with the Verve Pipe?" And he looked at me.
He's
I
like,
didn't
and you did
know.
no research.
You don't know. Sometimes I don't do because I want to come in as a viewer and asking those questions.
Right,
because
right.
if I already know, I'm not going to ask it.
Right.
It just feels too, you know, choreographed.
Right,
if
right,
you will.
right.